Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening in to another video for me. And this is something that's been on my mind for a little bit because it's a mindset that I've noticed, and I feel like I I've seen this mindset among the people who like to follow popular trends. And literally, this is what I feel like. It's just the people that like to follow the popular trend. And if what they are interested in isn't part of the popular trend, they get ticked off, they get angry, they get confused, and a whole bunch of other things. And like the mindset I'm talking about is that Nintendo, as a company, has to be on top at all times. In every category, at all times, they must be on top. They have to have the best console. They have to have the best games. They have to have the best online infrastructure. They have to have the best third party support. They have to have the best commercial success. And I'm so confused as to why people think this way. Like, for instance, currently, if you really wanted to be literal about things, Nintendo has the most hardware on the market currently. They have literally the most hardware purchased by consumers on the market at the moment. They have the most software sold on the market at the moment. So, and the more or less, I swear that the word success comes across when I hear people say it. And I start to wonder if any of these people actually know the definition of the word success. Because obviously they don't. Like, here's my thing. The Wii U, one platform that Nintendo has, right? It didn't do that well. Everyone can agree to that. It didn't sell as well as it probably should have. A lot of people could agree to that. But what we can't agree on is whether or not it was a successful platform. To me, in my eyes, if it didn't meet the projections of Nintendo, then no, it was not a successful platform as far as the hardware goes. But where was it successful? Software. It sold tons and tons of software, amounts that you would not expect for a console generation that sold between 13 and 14 million units. You wouldn't expect to get games selling in the 5, 6, and 7, even in 8 millions at all for this platform. That wouldn't make any sense to you, especially if you think about previous generations. Hell, even the Wii's generation, the Wii generation, the Wii sold over 100 million units. Relatively speaking, Mario Kart Wii sold what, like 37, 30, somewhere between 35 and 37 million units. That's between 35 to 37% of the install base. Mario Kart 8, however, even though, yes, less units as far as the number of units gone out, but the ratio jumped dramatically in comparison. Like, Mario Kart 8 has sold to over half the install base of Wii U owners. That's something to think about. Like, that's something that you have to think about. Like, literally, it sold a much better percentage than the Mario Kart Wii. Now, if we were keeping the percentages relative to each other, and I'm going to do the math right now. I feel kind of stupid, but yeah, I'm going to do this. Let's go with 13 million. Just to be safe. And there's my phone making noises. 13 million, 0.35. The game at most should have sold a little bit over 4.5 million units. If we were going to assume that the ratio was going to stay the same, it should have sold a little bit over 4.5 million units. That's how much Mario Kart 8 should have sold. It shouldn't be in the 8 millions. It's basically doubled what you could have expected of it from a retail standpoint, and that's pretty damn good. But there are a lot of other games that sold, like I said, well, maybe not a lot. There are a lot of other Nintendo games that sold in the 5, 6, and 7 million unit category for Nintendo. So they made money off of this machine. They made a good amount of money off of it. It wasn't successful in the hardware area, but it was definitely successful in software. They made a lot of money off of the Wii U. They didn't make as much as they wanted. No, they did not. But they definitely made a lot of money off of it with the Amiibo and video game software. They made bank. Maybe not as well. Obviously, it didn't print as much money as the Wii did, and the Wii is still making the money to this day, which is ridiculous because Mario Kart Wii is still selling for some reason. I don't know why, but I just think that people need to scale back their expectations for some reason. And everybody brings up the Wii U as a failure, but then they completely ignore the 3DS as a success. It started off failing, but they turned it around to a success. It took them a while, and they tried to do the same thing with the Wii U. It just didn't take, unfortunately. They could have probably advertised it a little bit better and got more people, made more people aware of what it was, and they didn't do that all that well. But again, that's something that we can all agree on. So I don't get how people listen. Nintendo is successful enough to one, keep a bunch of their employees on. Two, be branching out into other fields. We have them branching out into theme parks. They're looking into entertainment media, other entertainment media such as movies and maybe animations for their IPs. They're doing more crossovers and working with individual third parties to make specialized games. And on top of that, they opened up several new facilities. So if they weren't being successful at the moment, then what are they being? Because I would like to know. I would really like to know, because if you're not successful, you don't expand. If you're not successful, you close down things, like Sony has done, like Microsoft has done, like EA has done. Studios closing down on a constant basis. Unfortunately, it had to happen with Hudson Soft. It had to happen with THQ. It's happened with a lot of different companies. It's happened with Midway. When you're not successful, you close things down. You don't expand. And I don't get how people don't realize this. And again, between the Wii U and the 3DS, they have the most hardware on the market. And that hardware sells their software. And I'm looking at this like, wow, nobody's understanding this? Like, nobody's getting this at all? Well, it's not nobody. It's just the people, the group, the people of those of us who have seen this and kind of understand this. We're kind of like the black sheep of the fucking gaming community, because we actually aren't trying to let our bias ruin our perception. And I'm not afraid to admit I have a bias towards Nintendo, because out of all the companies I've liked, they've done the least amount of shit to piss me off. So there you go. That's why I have a bias toward them. And after them, I guess you could say I have a bias towards Sega, because of Sega is purely nostalgia, and I know it. And I'm not afraid to call Sega, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Konami, Capcom, SNK. I'm not afraid to call any of them out on their BS. I will do it if I see something that I think is BS. But it's just like, I swear, if we were gauging success by the way people on YouTube and other like social media outlets gauged success, Nintendo would go under. Actually, the whole industry would go under, because Nintendo would go under trying to keep up with all those expectations, and everybody else who's already trying to keep up with those expectations would likely fall in line, because there's nothing fresh coming out. That's basically it. That's basically how I see the scenario playing now. Like, and I'm always going to be gaming, but like whether I have to play new or old games, I'm going to be gaming for the rest of my life. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I just look at them like there has to be somewhere where we can have where people don't have to worry about their favorite company being on top. Like, but I'm the fanboy, even though I don't give a fuck if Nintendo's winning or losing. I really don't. If they're winning, great. If they're losing, I expect more games. So it's a win-win for me. If they're doing good, good. If they're doing bad, I know they're going to try harder to get my money. So either way, it works out for me. And but like you would think people would have this sort of mentality anyway. Like you would think that they would be like, well, if they're losing, that means they have to work harder. So maybe I might get better stuff out of it. Nope. Nobody's thinking that way. At least not the majority is thinking that way. The majority is like, you have to be the best no matter what. All the time, everywhere, you have to be the best. And if you're not the best, then I'm going to be mad, I'm going to be agitated, I'm going to be bitching and complaining all the time. I'm going to be whining about everything that you do. And that's how it happens. At least that's how it comes out from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. That's how I'm perceiving it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not how they're thinking. But again, that's how it's being perceived by me because that's how it comes off. And it comes off that way because we have a lot of pretentious people on the fucking internet. And again, I'm not going to not lie and say, I'm not going to lie and say I'm not conceited. I might be a little bit pretentious myself. But at the same time, I try to think about things from more than one angle, and not just the angle that I see it from. I try to get a better understanding of all the different aspects of things going on around me rather than just what I see through my tunnel vision. I don't close myself off to information. I open myself up to information to be able to look at things from different perspectives, from different ways, and maybe come up with a conclusion that better fits overall. Granted, when I'm pissed off, I might get tunnel vision. But that's an emotional state. I can't always help it. I tend to try to think more when I get mad, but I ain't always successful. But that's it. That's just it. I would really like for people to realize that Nintendo does not have to be the top dog at all times in every category for you to be able to like them. All you have to do is like them and learn to accept that you like them instead of trying to follow trends and wait for everybody else to accept them too. Because I swear, before the Switch was a thing, before the day before the Switch was technically announced, people were shitting all over Nintendo. And the next day, those very same people was like, we gonna suck Nintendo's dick as soon as possible. That's how that turnaround came. That's basically what it was. It's ridiculous. But you know what? I'm gonna call it quits here. I think I've gone on long enough. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out. See you later.